Dear colleagues, good morning. The annual Moscow Conference on International Security has gathered us for the seventh time. It combines the representatives of the military establishments, military experts, so that we could exchange our views on regional and global security. This year, the focus is placed on the situation in the Middle East. The events that are taking place there are closely connected to the current changes on the global level. The polycentric world order is taking shape. It is designed to establish cooperation between the states so that we could tackle our common problems under the auspices of the UN, which is the only universal body of global management. Individual states oppose the process of establishment of justice and equality and undermine the state of international security. They distort and they violate norms of international order. Unsubstantiated accusations, interference with the affairs of sovereign states, application of unilateral sanctions, attempts to do unlegitimate actions under some protections, circumventing UN, disregarding a central and key role have been taken systemic nature of late. We can see that some countries claim to be the judges of international affairs, and they think it is possible to strengthen the peace with the help of force if their narrow interests require that. At the same time, it is quite clear that such approach does not meet the long-term interests of the global development, and also it destabilizes the international situation. It makes the resolution of the current challenges more distant. In order to oppose those threats efficiently and effectively, we should really shape our common basis, joining all the efforts of interested parties with the support of international norms of law and, in the first place, the Charter of the UN. Unless we establish constructive cooperation and coordination, it will be next to impossible to solve all those international challenges. Dear colleagues, the necessity of international cooperation in the area of security is dictated by the current situation in the Middle East, and also by its implications for other regions of the world. Despite the significant defeat of international terrorist groups, ISIS, Jabhat al-Nusra and Al-Qaeda are still possessing some potential, and they are changing their tactics, focusing on other areas. In particular, some of the militants migrate from Syria and Iraq to Europe in order to recruit militants for terrorist attacks. Other relocate to Afghanistan, Sub-Saharan region, and Central Asian regions. The objective of the terrorists are the countries with weakened state bodies and with vast, uncontrolled areas featuring sharp confessional and religious conflicts and with a high level of unemployment. Under the circumstances, it is important to establish international cooperation so that we could prevent international terrorists from committing their attacks, including those who return from conflict areas to their home countries. We need to establish the efficient and effective exchange of information, intelligence information. At the same time, we cannot allow that the regional countries, under the pretext of combating terrorism, would interfere in the home affairs of sovereign countries. Dear colleagues, It is in close connection with anti-terrorist agenda that we consider the drug trafficking problem. In the majority of cases, it's one of the main sources of finance for terrorists. It's important to intensify our contacts so that we could work out our joint measures in this area, including information sharing concerning new drugs, their production areas and channels of distribution. Another threat connected to the international terrorism is illegal immigration. Those channels are quite actively used by terrorist organizations so that militants could move among the countries. Illegal immigrants provide a very productive environment for propaganda and recruiting, and also for establishing the so-called sleeping terrorist cells, which pose considerable danger. Terrorists' abilities to spread materials and recruit new members online have expanded. So we need to extend our cooperation and information sharing concerning the crimes of terrorists and extremists that are committed with the help of information technologies. In the future, we will need to adopt some rules of responsible behavior of the states in the information environment that would serve the grounds for the necessary international legal regime. Dear colleagues, I'm obliged today to read out the word of welcome by the President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin. Dear participants and guests of the 7th Moscow Conference on International Security, on the occasion of the opening of the 7th Moscow Conference on International Security, I would like to extend a word of welcome to you. The conference has deserved a proven global recognition. Delegates who are leaders of defense establishments, chiefs of general staffs, prominent researchers and experts, representing nearly 100 states, as well as high-ranking UN and other international institutions officials, arrived in Moscow to participate in the conference. This year's focus is placed on the topic which is critical to the entire international community, and that is the future development of the situation in the Middle East, following the defeat of ISIS in Syria. It is obvious that despite its military defeat, the terrorist group retains a significant destructive potential, the ability to quickly change its tactics and carry out attacks in various countries and regions of the world. Other extremist bodies also pose a great threat. And in these conditions, we need to join effort and think of new formats of multilateral cooperation that would enable us to consolidate the success achieved in combating terrorism and prevent a further spread of the threat. I am confident that discussions at the conference will be both meaningful and productive, making it possible to share valuable practical experience and analytics, and will make a significant contribution to the collective effort aiming at ensuring international security and stability. With all my heart, I wish you every success and the best of luck. President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin. Thank you.